Hey, what's up, everybody? Jason Barnaby from Firestarters Incorporated coming to you with episode 4 of Friday's Fiery Five. Can't believe we've already done 4 of those, or that this is the 4th. Hey, I had a conversation yesterday with a CEO, and we were talking about the differences in leadership between men and women. Now, I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with this. 4 or 5 years ago, pre-therapy, pre-digging into the Enneagram, I definitely had a very dualistic mindset. I didn't know what that was until I was in therapy and learned about it. Dualistic mindset is that it has to be this or that. So up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards, black, white, whatever you want to call it, it's got to be one or the other. And what I'm realizing and what I'm learning in my life is that there is so much space between these things for like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 2.7, like lots of different options. So I am not about making a blanket polarizing statement that women are always better leaders than men. I have worked for a few women in my life who are not great leaders, but the number of women leaders that I have worked for that are amazing leaders far outnumber the men that I have worked for that are amazing leaders. And so as I was talking with the CEO yesterday, we were having this conversation, and the phrase that the comment that I made was, I have learned more from the women leaders that I have worked for on what to do, and more from the men leaders that I have worked for on what not to do in leadership. And this person said, I'm curious why you think that is. And so I've actually been, I gave them an answer yesterday, but I have been thinking about it ever since. And here's what I think. Again, my humble opinion. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves in the comments. But I find in my coaching with C suite folks that are, um, especially men, that there's a lot of imposter syndrome. There's a lot of, I don't really feel like I belong here. I don't feel like I should be here. I don't feel comfortable being here. Not to say that that doesn't happen with women. I think it shows up differently personally in my experiences with men. And the response to that is micromanaging, um, a lot of putting people down, keeping people small, never admitting that they don't know an answer to something, because I have actually had this conversation with a C suite person once who said, if I tell my team that I don't know, then who am I? And my response was, is there anybody on the planet that knows everything? No. So why are leaders putting that type of, there's my puppy trying to get out because my daughter just came home. Why do leaders put that type of pressure on themselves to know everything? A couple of the greatest phrases that I have ever learned in leadership is, that's a great question. I don't have the answer to that. Anybody else know? Or just saying, I don't know, and saying, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to check and find out. And you bust your butt over the next 24 hours to figure out the answer to that situation. That's what you do. So that's one. Secondly, is I just think that women have more empathy, generally speaking, and I would call that a major strength. They can get vulnerable, they can be transparent. And I don't mean like in a, like, let me tell you all the terrible things in my life, or like in a weak kind of way. Like, I look at vulnerability and transparency as a strength. It takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable with people. It takes a lot of strength to tell people what's really going on, and lay it out there and say that you don't know. And that to me is incredibly important. And I just want to shout out Kara Trout and Sherry Christopher as two women that I worked for in the corporate world who were amazing leaders and modeled what I'm talking about time after time after time after time. And so here's a challenge to the men who are watching this. Are you vulnerable? Are you willing to say that you don't know? Are you micromanaging the crap out of your people because you cannot allow them to ask the question that will prove that you don't belong to be there, which isn't the case anyway, but that's a story we've told ourselves. Let me know what you think. Remember, ignite hope, torch fear, fire always wins. Go be a fire starter. Peace.